Good morning to you. You live in a shoe. And it is actually 6:44 p.m. right now. I just turned on the movie The Faculty. Have in the background. I just fed the little puppy dogs. Hello, little puppy dogs. How was your dinner? He said, well, it was delicious. It is a gorgeous day in Indiana outside. Blue skies. So pretty outside. And we still don't have our patio furniture. We're going to order it this weekend. And I cleaned up the house a little bit. I need to put see, I take everything right here down when I do videos. Here, I'll show you. So we have a little plant that goes there. I've been wanting to get more plants. Oh, look. Here's the famous fans. Do you guys want to see a little? Okay. You guys are getting the real tour today. So, here's our garage. And all of my props go right here. My props for my variety show. Yeah? What are you doing, Pee-Pee? Pee-Pee, how are you doing today? He said, Pee-Pee, Donquino. He said, I'm doing okay. They literally, you guys, they follow me around nonstop. So, are you ready for this? I just filmed 6 videos back to back. The last one, I was kind of like, I couldn't even like keep up with what I was saying, and it was a booktube video. It was a tag video. But I wanted to just take the day tomorrow. Now, I may save them for Saturday, I don't know. But I just kind of wanted to take the day tomorrow to myself and read. Because I'm wanting to catch up on some books before June 1st to finish them. And so I was like, you know what? I was just like, I was in a mood today to really make videos. So I will give you guys a little insider secret. Well, I made my 3 videos for today, plus my vlog. And then I made, little faces of the world. Hi, little Boo Radley. Hi, little faces. And then I made, the lighting. And then, I guess Pee-Pee said he wants to be up here. Come on, honey. Come on, sweetheart. Aw, he's such a good boy. Who's my best friend? Who's my best friend? Give me a kiss. And then I filmed 2 Peter Residence videos. I did one for today, and then I did a Dear Peter advice video for tomorrow. And then I did 2 booktube videos. I did an update on the book that we're reading for the book club, I'll Be Gone in the Dark, which I'm almost done with. Aww. Okay, you want to be up here too? Okay. Tucker said, is there any room up there for me? And then I did, for tomorrow, I did a tag video for BookTube. And then I also have my video for my drama channel done tomorrow. And I just finished my drama video tomorrow for my drama channel today. And see, I can't talk anymore, you guys. I mean, literally. Okay, so I took a shower at 3 o'clock. I went around and I ran errands and got coffee and stuff. I haven't even finished my coffee yet. Look at, he is such beautiful, like, isn't he so pretty? I mean, they're all pretty, but he has such a beautiful coat. I haven't seen this movie, The Faculty, in forever. I watch a horror movie every day while I'm, like, putting stuff away and, cleaning up and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm getting ready, I think, to go to the bookstore. There's a couple books that I want to look for that I've heard about recently. So I want to see if they have them. But I'm probably going to have to go to Barnes & Noble. And I just, like, it's so expensive there. I just think that Barnes & Noble is kind of crap. But it looks so pretty there, doesn't it? I mean, Barnes & Noble is kind of hard to, like, go in there and not buy something. I usually go there and find stuff I want. And then I go to Half Price Books where I order it online. I kind of, like, really look like my dad today. Like, even the hair and everything. Like, I really look like him. Anyway, okay, so what was I going to say? The camera battery is dead, so I'm kind of surprised it hasn't shut off yet, but I'm just going to film anyway. I'm watching The Faculty, so I made all those videos, and then I'm just going to read tomorrow. I'm going to sit around, and I'm just going to, you know, I'll probably go into my office and write for a little bit, and then I'm going to read and just relax, and it's Friday, and yeah. So Alex worked today, and then his friend Kayla, who I've actually shown in videos, and she's a singer, and I've talked about her, and I linked her videos and stuff. She's in a singing competition, but it's on like the south side of Indianapolis. It's like 40-minute drive, and he was like, do you want to go? And I was like, he was going with a bunch of people after work, and I was like, just go. I don't want to go to that. He was like, well, it's only till like 9 or 10. And I was like, from 6 to 10, 4 hours. I mean, that kind of stuff is fun, but like I was like, no, you just go. So I think I'm going to go over to, do you remember Josh Hartnett? Whatever happened to him? All these people that are in this movie, like, well, Usher's in it. I guess he's doing things. And then the guy that was in The Hobbit. Oh my God. I love watching these old horror movies. But anyway, I'm thinking about running over to Tanya's in a little bit and seeing what she's doing. These guys, I mean, like, I'm done, like, for the night. I'm going to do a live stream later, but, like, my videos are uploaded, and I'm getting ready to watch a couple of them back. Look at his little hairdo. Isn't it so funny? Look at Pee-Pee. This is, like, my favorite part of Pee-Pee. Look, I'll show you. My favorite part. If you look right here, he has these little hairs that stick out. Do you see? Look on his neck. You can see him on his neck. Donkino, what are you doing? Are you being a good boy today? He said, I am being a good boy, Dad. So yeah, we've had a really good relaxing day today, and went and got my coffee. It's outside on the front porch. I've been drinking a lot of water. I have all this stuff in there to do a haul video. I was going to film like pre-film a bunch of videos today. Well, I did for one day. The thing is, when you have 3-4 channels to pre-film videos, like you would have to like when I went on vacation the last time, I had to pre-film videos like every day for like a week straight to get them all done. So that was like 5 to 6 videos a day. This is why, like, I don't really care. People can say what they want to say, and I know that my videos are not the same quality as other people. But when people tell me that they don't have any time to film a video, and I'm like, okay, so there are days that I film, 5 and 6 videos, which, oh, that's what I was going to say. So I took a shower at 3 o'clock. It is like literally 6:05 right now. And I am done with 6 videos, a shower, everything's put away. The dogs are fed. It took me 3 hours to do all of that. And had a blast doing it too, like, I don't know. I'm just so tired of hearing YouTubers complain. Do you ever get sick of that? Like, I mean, I'm not speaking as a YouTuber right now. I'm speaking as like a fan of YouTube. Like, I just get so tired of hearing these people complain. It's like, I'm almost to the point where I don't want to like watch their videos anymore because I just don't even want to hear them complain. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but I keep watching anyway. I need to go get some more hair product. We have so much hair product, though. I really like Gauge hair products for men. Those are probably my favorites. Look at this. What are you doing, Boo Radley? Are you still... Oh, ow, honey. That kind of hurt Dad a little bit. Are you, Look at him. Somebody tweeted me out last night. They're like, the reason that Pee-Pee coughs is ... about mold. Okay, the reason that Pee-Pee coughs is because he has an enlarged heart and he has a congenital heart defect. He doesn't cough because of mold, but I appreciate you sending that information to me. We've also had a mold check on our house, so we know that's not the case, but thank you for sharing that information with me. Boo Radley licks, like he constantly licks because Tucker and Pee-Pee do it when they're laying in bed at night. It's the only time they ever do it. See, like, look. Tucker is probably our most well-behaved dog. There he is. Look at him. Tukey. Tucker, you're such a good boy. Look at him. He said, I know I am. Don't even worry about it. So, but the only time they lick is when they're in bed, and then Boo Radley has just kind of learned it as a result. This is my life, and I wouldn't trade it in for anything. I need to go get some lemonade, Crystal Light. I've been meaning to do that, and I keep on forgetting. I need Keurig cups for coffee, and I need lemonade. So I'm going to go do that, and then I'm going to go to the bookstore, and then I'm going to do a live stream. I was going to take a nap, but I'm just not feeling it. Like, I know if I went and laid down right now, I wouldn't be able to fall asleep. Even though I think it's good to, like, rest your mind for, like, a half an hour. I have felt so driven lately, especially like writing. I have felt like so completely driven just to get like all kinds of stuff done. And it's so interesting because, you would think like I would run out of time, but I really don't. Like I find that I have like, okay, what do I want to do now? I want to watch Netflix. Do I want to like write a little bit more? Do I listen to my audiobook? Like what I want to do. The more I do, Like, people always ask me, how do you get so much achieved in a day? Which I don't even feel sometimes like I really do compared to a lot of people I know. But, like, the more I do in a day, the more I have on my list, the more I have planned, the more I get. Oh, my God, he's selling these guys bootleg videotapes. Do you remember that back in the day? Bootleg DVDs. I used to buy them from my girlfriend at work when I worked in treatment. Her boyfriend sold them. But I think, like, the more things I have to do in a day, the more I actually get done in a day. The days I don't have anything to do are the days that I just lay around the house and I don't get anything done. So now that I have everything planned for tomorrow, which I'm really excited about, because it's kind of fun that way. Like, I can sit back and I can just, like, you know, eat lunch, get some coffee, like, take half an hour and read social media after I posted my videos and stuff like that. So it's fun, but... What happened to Josh Hartnett? Is he even around anymore? It's like the guy that was in 16 Candles that played Jake, that Michael Scholenhofer or whatever his name is. Like, do you know he makes, like, furniture and he's like a carpenter in Minnesota or something like that? I don't understand these people that just walk away from it all. I guess they just really didn't want to be movie stars to begin with. It's like YouTubers that just walk away from it. Sometimes I don't understand it. I guess they have their own personal reasons for it. Like Michelle Phan. My God. But if you ever watch that video that Michelle Phan put out about why she left YouTube, it's absolutely fantastic. But then I would have kind of liked to have... She says she left because it really wasn't... She wasn't able to call her own shots anymore. I trimmed my beard the other day, and it's like growing into my nose. It's driving me nuts. But I would love to see her come back and say, it's on my own terms now. Like, if I want to post a video every 6 weeks, I will. If I want to post 3 in a week, I will. I'm back on my own terms, you know? That, I think, is a powerful message to allow people to understand that when you work hard and you get to a certain point, you get to dictate the way that you do things in your business and in your life, you know? And I think a lot of life is really just about taking some control back in the areas that you can and not reacting, but responding to the things that you don't have control over. Because there's a lot of things that we don't have any control over whatsoever, you know? Don't you agree, Tucker? He said, oh, I full-heartedly agree, 100%. This is basically like group therapy. There's PP. PP, what do you have to say? He's like, oh, not much. There's Boo Radley's little hairs. Aww, good boy. Good boy. Donkino. I had to go show them the garage a couple minutes ago because our neighbor, her bass is so heavy in her house right now, which it doesn't bother me, but he was like, vroom, vroom. When they heard it, they thought it was Alex's car coming up, and so they went crazy. I had to show them the garage. They, like, ran out there, and they're, like, looking around, like, where's his car? I'm like, he's not home, I told you. Anyway, well, I'm gonna get off here. I'll be back later. Bye. Hello, hello, hello. It's 1:15 a.m. and I'm gonna film this and then go home and go to bed because I'm really tired. And I have been busting my ass literally all day today. And it totally just caught up with me about a half an hour ago. I went upstairs and I was like laying down with Alex talking to him, and PP was up there. I just got so tired. I was like, I just want to go to bed. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go vlog for a half an hour, and then I'm going to come upstairs and go to bed. So this won't be real long tonight. It's been a good day. I feel very, like, accomplished. And I got so much done. I read a lot. I did a live stream. I filmed 6 videos. Alex and I watched RuPaul's Drag Race and ate dinner. Well, I ate dinner. Yeah, he ate dinner too. He brought Taco Bell home. And I'd gone to the grocery store and gotten stuff. And then after that, that's when he went. We just literally finished it like a half an hour ago. And I cleaned up the entire kitchen tonight and did dishes, laundry. And I've been busy all day. And so tomorrow I am going to have a more relaxed day. I am going to go in and write for a little bit tomorrow, and then into my office, and then I'm going to get my oil changed in my car, And I also need to get a pedicure. I don't know if I'm going to do it tomorrow or not. I really just want to sit outside tomorrow and just read, if it's nice. It's supposed to rain this weekend, which is so interesting. So it's race day weekend in Indianapolis. Most people don't work tomorrow in Indianapolis. Like, so many businesses are closed and people don't have to work, or they get off early. It's carburation day, which I think is like where, I don't really fully understand it, which you would think I would by this point, but I think it's where like all of the race car drivers go out and they take their cars out for as fast as they can one last time. It is literally like the drunkest day at the track. It's like everybody goes out there and gets sunburned and just wasted drunk. And I've never been out there on carb day. And then Saturday is kind of low key. And then Sunday is the race. And then Monday is Memorial Day. So everybody has like barbecues and stuff like that. It's also the weekend that the pool opens. The pools all over are open in the Midwest. And it's the official beginning of summer in Indiana. So summer is here. I cannot believe it. And I'm excited about it. Although I'm not excited about when I walk out the door, like big bugs hit me in the head. I walked out the door at night and this big June bug. Do you guys know what June bugs are? They're like this big. It like flew, because it's like we have like that light right there outside of our door. And so they're always like congregating around those lights. I don't know why bugs do that. Like a moth to a flame burned by the fire. My love is blind. Can you see my desire? That's the way love goes. Anyway, this big June bug came and swatted me right upside the head tonight. I was coming home from the grocery store tonight, and there was like this grandma and like a dad. It was like her son probably, and then his daughter, who was like 4, walking down the street. And the little girl had like this stick in her hand, and her dad was like, "What is that?" And she's like, "It's my magic wand." And he was like, "Where did you find that? Put it down," or something like that. And the grandma was like, "Yeah, you don't want to pick that up. You don't know what's on it." And I said, and like, so I'm sitting there and I'm like probably 20 feet away, and I go, "Oh my, a magic wand." And she like held it up, and the dad they just kind of laughed at me, like real awkward, you know, that they were uncomfortable that I was calling them out. I said, "Wouldn't it be great if we all had a magic wand?" I said, "My life would be so much better if I had a magic wand." And the dad goes, "Yeah, that's true." And the grandma was like, "Yeah, if we all had magic wands." Now that little girl probably is breaking that stick all over stuff in the house. That kills me though, when like parents and grandparents and stuff like want to take imagination away from kids. Like, I grew up on my imagination, and my parents like totally, you know, enabled my imagination like in a positive way. Like, if I had said I had a magic wand, you know, both of my parents would have been like, "Really? Like, well, what does your magic wand do? Like, you know, does it like have special powers? What does it do?" I've been like, "My wand." Do you remember back in the day when people would say like, if you had 3 wishes, like this is like what you do as kids, right? If you had 3 wishes, what would you wish for? And you'd say, "I wish for all the money in the whole world." All of it. And then I'd wish to be famous. And then you know what the 3rd wish is that everybody always wishes for? And let's see who guesses it. Okay, I'm waiting. Yep, 3 more wishes. That's what, greedy. Everybody's greedy. They want more wishes. No, you only get 3 wishes. That's it. And then everybody goes, "I'll have 3 more wishes." And then the other person goes, "You can't do that. That's not fair." And then, well, you didn't say any rules. I can do whatever I want. They're my wishes. Did you ever get in fights like that with your friends when you were a little kid? So stupid, isn't it? And then you'd always have that one girl that's like 8 years old, and she's like, my wish would be a cure for all world diseases." Yep, you're gonna be a beauty pageant queen when you get older. World peace, honey. Oh, I can't really remember what I wished for back in the day. I probably was stupid and wished for things like a book and a dog. I was always kind of grateful for what I had. I never was like, it was so funny because like, you know, only children get this bad rap that they're like spoiled brats and stuff like that. And we were at my dad's house like a couple years ago for like a barbecue, and Alex was like joking around about me being an only child, and my dad's like, why do you think he acts like he's an only child? And I'm like, those things that you would think are true of an only child, I'm so not that person. And I mean, literally, if somebody comes to my house and they're like, oh, I really like that shirt, I like give it to them, you know, and stuff. And Alex is like, I mean, all children, you know, all only children are like spoiled and whatever. And let me just say, I did get a lot of things that I wanted as I was growing up, but it wasn't like, I never like walked into a toy store and said, I want that, and they got it for me. It was like Christmas or my birthday or things like that, right? And I mean, I never went without, but I was never ever gifted extravagantly either. In fact, I had friends of mine that, you know, there'd be 4 people in a family and they'd be getting all kinds of crazy shit, you know? I was never like that. That was never my story. And I think really also because my parents came from such poor background, of really having nothing. And so I think both of my parents were pretty frugal when I was growing up until I was like in high school. And then my dad, I stopped being frugal and really started, you know, like traveling kind of high end and always having really nice cars. But he works his ass off. I mean, my dad literally works his ass off. 70-hour weeks, getting up in the morning at 4, not coming home until 8 or 9 o'clock at night. I mean, that was me growing up, you know? But anyway, we were over there and we had the barbecue and Alex made some joke about me being an only child. And my dad got really shitty. My dad was like, Peter was never like that. Peter always shared his toys with people. Peter always was like, you know, wanting to do things for other people. He goes, there's absolutely no truth to that whatsoever. He goes, I don't know about other only children. He goes, but Peter wasn't like that at all. And he was like, Peter was always very generous with all of his friends. I was like, see, that's the truth right there all day long. But I really was. But it's also lonely when you're growing up and you're an only child, you know? It's like, in some ways, you kind of have to be generous because it's not like you have built-in friends, you know? Which is kind of sad to me. I hear so many stories from friends of mine, you know, that like, they weren't that great of friends with their siblings growing up. My hair just does not want to do anything tonight. I'm sorry, it looks crazy, I know. Like, I had so many friends of mine that, like, they had siblings and they didn't get along with their siblings, and I would have died for a sibling when I was growing up. I don't know so much that I care now, you know? My cousin Caroline's an only child, too, and so we kind of grew up like brother and sister. We were 3 years apart, and I definitely would say that we're like that today. We're definitely like brother and sister today. And especially as our family suffers more loss, we seem to grow closer together. So, I would say we're definitely like brother and sister. I think we talk to each other that way. I think we're loyal to each other that way. I think we feel that kind of connection. But it was lonely growing up. You know, I can remember, I'm like imagining actually the porch at our house that I showed you guys not too long ago. And we had like this, it was like all white, like chrome furniture. It looked like bamboo, but it was actually metal. And, I can remember sitting on the couch out there and like we had this yellow phone. You remember those phones that were like this? That had like, okay, we had this yellow phone and I would like pick it up and I would like call my friend and I would be like, can Brian come and play? Can Christina come and play? And their moms would always be like, not tonight, honey. Like, we're gonna do a family dinner. And I'd be like, okay. And I can just remember, like, that was so weird when I was just saying that. Like, I just all of a sudden felt that rejection again, you know? Because my mom would be like, does nobody want to play? And I'd be like, no, Mom, nobody can play. They're all doing family stuff. And then she'd say, okay, well, let's play a game. She was always so good about that. My mom always played games with me and board games. And we'd go swimming in the pool, you know, play in the pool. And so she was always really great about that stuff. So was my dad. But it was lonely. And my mom used to always say, she'd say, I wish I had given you a brother or a sister, which I don't even know that in retrospect why I think that was even that important, because it really wasn't, you know? But it was lonely, you know? My biggest fear was always like when my parents, like when one of them died, going through that alone. But when my mom was sick, I was so swarmed by people, you know, Caroline and my aunt and my uncle and family friends and friends of my mom's. I was just swarmed constantly. So it was, and my dad was very much involved even, you know, that I didn't feel alone in that process. Not at all. I didn't feel alone. And I'm really grateful for that, you know, like I didn't have to go and plan. I mean, I just always, I think, imagined myself like planning funerals by myself and all that stuff. And, but I didn't have to do that. You know, my aunt and my cousin came with me, and, you know, I had several really good friends at the time that, you know, Tanya was out of town when it all went down. And she called me and she's like, do you want me to come home? And I was like, no, you're never going to take a vacation. Because back then, she didn't have that many people working at the kennel. And so she would only get to take a vacation like every 6 months, 8 months. And I said, you haven't been able to take a vacation. At that point, she hadn't taken a vacation in like a year. And I said, you can be my friend when you come home. You don't need to come home for this. I've got other people here. But I had two really good friends at the time, my friends Liz and Annie, and they really kind of walked me through the whole thing. And thank God for them, because I don't know what I would have done, but they kept me busy. And then my mom and I had a friend named Mary Ann that helped out a lot through the whole situation. And, you know, it was okay. It wasn't that bad, you know. It's weird when you go through it. It's so surreal. You don't even, like, really know what you're doing. And I think that each one is different, too. Like, my aunt's, all of that stuff was so completely different than my mom's. So, and harder in some ways than others. I don't know. It was really the end of an era when my aunt passed away, you know? It was like, well, it's over now. Like, everything, you know? That's how it felt. But, and that is where I think, like, if I had a brother or a sister, it would feel differently. You know, when Alex and I first got together, like one of my fears of dating somebody, you know, 12 years younger was what happens when I'm, you know, 75 and he's in his 60s, or what happens when I'm 70 and I, you know, get dementia or Alzheimer's and he's 58. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to want to take care of me. That was my fear, you know? And, that's been a lot of talks that we've had to have, you know? And before we even got married, he was like, don't even worry about it. Like, you know, obviously, I know that getting into this. And 12 years, I need gas. 12 years is not even that bad compared to, you know, what some people have. Some people are like, I'm not going to get gas right now. I'm going to wait till I'm done vlogging. You know, my dad and my stepmom are 22 years apart. Yeah, they're 22 years apart. They don't even seem that big of I mean, and my dad, and like that's the thing, is like my dad is 78 and my stepmom is 56, and it's like they don't even seem, like my dad is still so active that, I don't know. I mean, I have friends of mine whose parents are in their 70s, like late 70s, early 80s, and they're literally like in assisted living programs and they don't get out of a chair all day long. I'm like, my dad is like retiring and planning trips and the next car that he wants to buy. You know, it's just, I don't know, it's surreal to me. So when I think about it on those terms, I think to myself, you know, it's like, that could be me and Alex. You know, the other thing is that he could get sick before me, and so at some point you kind of stop worrying about that stuff, you know? And you're just grateful for the time that you have right now together. Gosh. Those aren't the things you think about when you're, you know, in your teens and 20s. You just definitely don't think about that stuff. As you get older, it starts becoming kind of a reality. And I have to honestly say, it's only since I've gotten started, like, on the tail end of going towards 50 that I've really started thinking about those things. Hell, I just, sometimes it just seems so bizarre to me that I'm going to be 50. I'm like, I never in a million years thought I would ever say I was 50. I honestly, I mean, I couldn't even imagine saying I was 30. And it just, sometimes it feels like it goes by that quick, you know? And here I am creeping up on 50 and I don't feel that old. I really don't, you know? And I don't feel like one of those people that's trying to like hold on to my youth. Like, I don't feel like that at all. I really don't. I feel like I kind of came into my own like in my 40s, where I felt, I mean, I don't try to wear clothes that, you know, they wore when they're, I mean, I don't know. I just dress very plain today, you know, but it's not like I'm trying to like look like I'm 25. But I feel like to some degree, I found my confidence in my 40s. But I also think that maybe I wouldn't have found it until my 40s, because it had to happen that way, to where I just really didn't give a shit to some degree, you know, that like, that didn't come until I was in my 40s. It couldn't, and it didn't. And where I was kind of like, okay, well, you can take me or leave me, you know? And not so much on YouTube and stuff like that, but just in my real life. So it's weird, you know, when you think about things on that level, that, I don't know. And I don't get sad about getting older. Like, that's not it for me. It's like I get sad about like time running out. Like, I was looking at Boo Radley, I think it was last night, and like, he's looking older. Like, you know, like he was once my pup Boo Radley, and, you know, my little guy, and now he's like old man Boo Radley a little bit, you know? Like, I can tell that he can tell that he's getting older. He gets tired quicker, you know? It's like, he doesn't run as fast, and it kind of makes me sad, you know? It's like, even Pee-Pee almost kind of seems like he's doing better sometimes than Boo Radley does, and I just think, you know, like I've said this a lot before on here, like, I'm having such a good time in my life right now, and everything is right, and, you know, Alex and I do good work, and we come home, and we spend time together, and we eat dinner, and we go hang out with our friends and family, and we plan trips, and I'm loving, you know, doing YouTube and writing and the other stuff that we have going on, and I love just hanging out with the dogs and reading books, that it's like, could I just stop time, like, right now? You know, that's what I would do with my magic wand. So if I had a magic wand, I would just stop time. But then I also know that, like, if there have been points in my life where I would have said that before and I didn't know what was right around the corner, you know? That there were some really fantastic magical things right around the corner that I wasn't prepared for. So, if I had frozen time, I would have never have known those things, you know? I think also sometimes we freeze time, like, on, like, bad moments, too. Like, you know, with my ex, our relationship was so bad the last 3 years. It wasn't good. And, like, looking back now, I know that. But at that time, I didn't even know it, you know? And, I mean, we were friends, but there was just no real romance, no passion, and romance, no passion in the relationship anymore, you know? And then it did get kind of cold towards the end. It really did. Like, and I don't mean like stale cold. I mean, like, it got cold, like, between us. I was kind of like, I think that had we not broken up when we did, it could have gotten kind of, we could have been mean to each other, and not in like a hurtful way whatsoever, but just, I think, you know, when, I don't know, you start building resentments and you start saying things to each other that maybe you don't really mean, in ways that you don't really want to say it. And I'm glad we stopped before it ever got to that point. You know, I don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings because I'm not happy myself. And when the reality is I need to take responsibility and get out of the situation, you know? And I remember I just kept on thinking, like, it'll get better, it'll get better, it'll get better. And, like, even, like, so that summer, for my birthday, we went to Cancun. We had a great time. And that was in June, and his birthday's in September. And, like, I don't, like, want to paint a nasty picture of him. I just really don't. But at the end of it's the truth, at the end of the relationship, I mean, he wasn't paying any bills. He hadn't paid any bills for quite some time. I was basically paying for everything. And he was turning 30 that year. And he said to me, I will never forget this. We were sitting around and he goes, where are we going for my 30th birthday? And I said, we just went to Cancun for my birthday. I thought that was kind of like our trip that we were taking this year. And he goes, I'm turning 30 in September. I want to be on a beach and you need to make it happen. Those were his exact words to me. And I was like, oh my God, I'll never forget telling Tanya that. And she was like, oh, okay. How you gonna make that happen, you know? And when I talk about credit card debt, that's a lot because of that relationship, because I had kind of like raised this expectation in him of what he felt like he deserved, and I just couldn't match it a little bit, you know? And so trips were being charged a lot, you know? Dinners, things like that were being, I didn't have the money for it, you know? Which is why when I got out of it and I snowballed all my debt and paid it all off, I mean, it took me 3.5 years to pay it off, but I did. And, but I made that trip happen. We went to the Dominican Republic, and it was okay. It was distant. It was a distant trip, you know? We both kind of did I mean, we would lay out at the pool together, but we would come home at night, you know, to the hotel room, and I would listen to, you know, like audio. At that time, it was like CDs, or we would watch a movie together, but that was it, kind of, you know? I mean, we would go out to dinner. It was fun. I mean, parts of it were fun. I remember we went into this thing that was like Cirque du Soleil, but we called it Cirque du Soleil because it was kind of stupid, and I don't know. It just was, I think we both knew at that point that it was done. It was over, you know? And then I was kind of like, if I can just, my lips keep on getting so dry. If I can just make it through, we both loved Christmas. And we both loved his work Christmas party. It was always like a big deal, and it was real magical. And I'll never forget the first year that we went. We were so excited, and we wore really nice suits, and a limo picked us up. I picked up like, you know, they hired like 6 limos to pick up all these different people, and we had such a fun time. And so the Christmas trip, that was like the 6th of December every year, or the Christmas party that was like the 6th of December every year. Look, I knew I had to get through that, and then I was like, if we can make it through Christmas, maybe Christmas, I really believed like Christmas could save us, you know? I really believed that. Like, we're gonna have such a good time at Christmas. Christmas is always so good for us. We go to Gatlinburg with my mom, and we were going with like another friend of ours, and then my cousin Caroline was going to come down there and meet us. Neither one of those people even ended up coming that year, but it didn't matter because he and I were broken up already anyway. And my mom and I went down there alone, which ended up being our last Christmas together. So it's weird how things kind of work out sometimes. But we went to that Christmas party on the 6th, and I'll never forget. And we went with a friend of ours. And I was going to go park the car, and I pulled up to the restaurant to let them out. And she got out and walked in, and like, he turned and looked back at me, and he said, and we had been fighting like nonstop, and he looked and he goes, and these were people that I knew very, very well. My entire social life, with the exception of people in sobriety and Tanya, were these people. And he looked at me and he goes, I just want you to know before you walk into this party that everybody knows how bad it is between us right now, and they think it's your fault. And he turned and he walked away, and I was like, oh my God, what am I walking into? And it wasn't like any more my fault than it was his. We just weren't happy anymore, you know? And I was very overworked at that time. I was stressed out. I was tired. I wasn't happy in my career. I wasn't happy in my relationship, and I just was exhausted. And I remember I just like, what is that walking across the street? Raccoon. And I remember I walked into that party and people treated me like shit. Like nobody talked to me. And I was just so exhausted. And I remember we got home at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and interesting thing, he never drank not one time in our entire relationship, not once. He was so respectful of my sobriety, but as soon as we broke up, he started drinking, and heavily. So that was a Saturday, and the next day was a Sunday, and I had to go in and work in my office all day long. And I remember I came in, and it was like 6 o'clock in the evening, and I had literally worked from like 9 to 6. And he was sitting on the couch like this with the remote, just like going through channels. And I was standing there, and I used to have this Abercrombie bag that I carry. It was like a big, like, you know, like a work bag that you have, like, you put like a computer and files and stuff like that in it, notebooks. And he didn't even look at me. And I remember, I always say it reminds me of the scene in Roseanne with Jackie and Fred. And I looked at him, and I go, hey, what's going on? And he was like, and like literally did not miss a beat and said, you need to make a decision. Like, this isn't working. Are we going to work things out? Or are we going to stay together? Or are we breaking up? And I will never forget, like, I inside of me wanted so bad to make it work. Like, I loved this man, you know? Like, I thought we were going to be together for the rest of our lives. Like, I felt like it was so magical at the beginning. And it just got so bad throughout the relationship. And, there's a lot of other things that played factors into it that really didn't have to do with me, but that's his story and it's not mine to tell. And, you know, it just was sad. We had fallen out of love with each other, you know? It really isn't any deeper than that. It just was really sad. And I remember my bag, like, slipped from my shoulder and just kind of went to the floor. And I said, I think it's over. I think it's over. And I remember I almost kind of whispered it. And like, as soon as I said it, like it came out of my mouth, he like turned and looked at me and he was like, what did you just say? And I said, I think it's over. And I was so scared to say that, but like, I just was so exhausted, you know? Like, I just was like, we were emotionally fighting each other and we loved each other. And it's almost like, you guys, where am I at? 28, 25. You guys, have you ever like fought somebody that you love with emotions, and it's almost more taxing than anything else you could go through, because you don't want to hurt that person and you don't want them hurting you, right? I've always said that if we had gone to marriage counseling, or we weren't married, but if we had gone to couples counseling 2 or 3 years before that, I don't think we would have ever gotten to this point. I just don't think their issues were really that deep. And that's why I really recommend couples counseling. And this time, you know, that's why I was like, okay, I'll go with Alex. When he was like, I want to go to marriage counseling, I was like, okay, let's go. Now I'm at 29 minutes. Okay, so, and then right after that, he just stood up and he like walked and got his keys, and he's like, he looked at me and he goes, I need to get out of here. He was like, I need to leave. I need to figure out what I'm going to do. And when I come back, you need to be gone. And I was like, what do you mean I need to be gone? And he was like, you need to get the fuck out of here. Go to Tanya's house. I don't care where you go, but you need to get out of here so that I can get some of my shit and get out of here. Like, I mean, literally within 30 seconds, we did not know each other anymore. And it was sad, you know? It was so sad. All right, let me stop this and I'll come back and I'm gonna let the camera cool down for a second. I'll come back, and I don't even know how I got on this tonight. You know, it's interesting. I'm sitting here and I was like, well, the camera was kind of cooling down for a second. I was like thinking to myself, I've told this story so many times, you know, and like, what would be the message that I would want somebody to get from this message other than just, oh, here's my breakup story, right? And like, I really think in so many ways this relationship prepared me. Like, my first relationship that I had, I was with him for 5.5 years. Like, that was a young relationship. I was newly sober. It was fun being sober. You know, we were having sober fun together. We were going on vacations. It was a fun relationship. It wasn't super deep, you know? But this relationship was different because it was serious. I mean, we really, both of us thought we'd be together for the rest of our lives. We were very involved in both of our families. And, you know, it just was hard. And I think, like, that car is so loud. And I was thinking about it. I was like, you know, like, so many things that happened in the relationship prepared me for being a better partner in my relationship with Alex. Like, I don't think that our relationship would be as healthy and as strong as it is had I not gone through some of the things that I went through in my past relationship. I really believe that. But that being said, and this is, I guess, the message that I would want to give to somebody, you know, like, I think like at 3.5 years before the relationship ended, I think we both felt each of us felt like we were pulling away from the other person. Well, I can only speak for myself. I feel like that was at the point where we started pulling away from each other. But I really think that what was going on was I was privately feeling my own pain and distance, and he was privately feeling his own pain and distance. And whereas we should have been talking to each other about that, we were doing it on our own, and we weren't talking to the other person. And that was the moment that we should have entered counseling, that we should have gone to counseling, that moment. And neither one of us ever brought it up. Like, I think he may have mentioned it like a couple times, but like, do you think we should go to counseling? But it was never like, almost kind of like before we even like, I think before ever I seriously thought about it, it was past the point of fixing almost, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't even really want to be in the relationship anymore. And, you know, one of the reasons why I think that's important is, you know, that I think that at the immediate moment, that immediate moment that Alex and I started feeling that distance, because our lives started pulling a little bit, was the moment that we got into marriage counseling. That saved our marriage, you know? And Alex and I are gonna do a video on my main channel about our marriage and marriage counseling, because we both think it's so important to talk about it. And our marriage counselor actually suggested it. He said, you might be helping other people if you share your story, you know? And so we're gonna do that at some point in the near future. But I don't think that I would have been as willing to go with Alex, because I still really struggled with it, you know? Having been this, it was really hard for me, having been that this was my past career, to then walk into somebody else's office and allow myself to be the client, if that makes sense. I mean, I had to be very vulnerable in that situation. I'll never forget our first session, and I said, listen, you know, I've worked in this setting for a long time, and I hate when people come in and they say, oh, I'm a psychologist, or I'm a counselor, or I'm a life coach. And basically what that means is, don't tell me what I do, don't tell me, I already know everything anyway. And I said to our counselor, Joel, I said, I'm putting myself in your hands, okay? I'm literally, like, I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable. And so it just, I don't know, like, that alone saved my life, like, saved our marriage. I'm just not even the person that I was a year ago, and our marriage is just so fantastic as a result of it. I mean, we still have our problems. I'm not gonna act like we don't, you know, argue from time to time. Alex came home tonight. Okay, here's a good example. So, like, I pushed the trash can up, but I just left it, like, outside the garage door. And so when he came in, he was like, hey, babe, he was like, it takes 2 seconds to open the garage door and put the trash can in, and it makes it easier for me when I drive around. So if you could just put the trash can in, I would really appreciate it. And I was like, yeah, no problem. I'll do that from now on. That would have been a half an hour. Oh, really? Like a year ago, our argument would have been, oh, really? So I do everything else around here, but you want me to do the trash can? What do you mean you do everything else around here? I do a lot too. I mean, it would have been this, it would have gone on until the fight was having us. And we don't do that anymore, you know? And so I guess the lesson that I want people to get out of this is, if you're at that position where you are, you know, starting to feel distant in your own relationship, talk to your partner. My God, we talk to our friends, we talk to strangers on the street, we talk to our coworkers, but we won't talk to our partners, who are the people that we should be talking to, the people that we should be being intimate with, conversationally intimate with, and say, listen, I miss you. Like, I feel distant. Like, you know what? I want us to get back together. Talk to them and say that, and say, what do we need to do? Do we need to go on a vacation for a couple days? Do we need to reconnect? Do we need to go to marriage counseling? Like, what do we need to do? And people ask me all the time, like, what do I do if my partner doesn't want to go to marriage counseling? Well, that's kind of a good sign, you know? I mean, I hate to really say that, but think about that. If you're really begging to fight for your marriage and they aren't willing to go, that means that they're either totally okay with the condition of their marriage, and that's going to be how your marriage or relationship is for the rest of the time you're together, or they're not keen on fixing it, or they're scared. And I was scared. You know, and a lot of times what I tell people to do is go yourself, go by yourself, and then maybe they'll start coming. You know, but at least somebody in the relationship's getting some help. But I think that's the lesson to be taken from that, you know? I know in retrospect now, my ex and I were not meant to be together for long term, because I don't think we were necessarily, there were a lot of things that we weren't healthy for each other, like just a lot of things, and eating and just spending money that we didn't have and things like that. You know, I mean, Alex and I very much cooperate as a mature couple in making money decisions and traveling, and you know, we always talk through like that. You know, a lot of the people have been asking about the patio furniture. Like, the patio furniture is a good example. We agreed on a price that we were going to spend on the patio furniture. The problem is we're not finding that. Back in the day, like, we would have just been like, oh, $3,000, let's just whatever. But we agreed on a price, and that's the price that we're sticking at. So like, Alex and I really talk things through today, you know, whether it's buying patio furniture or, you know, like, what do you need from me to be a better husband, those kinds of things. And I don't know that that would have ever been the case had I not gone through what didn't work in my past relationship. So I'm grateful for that. But there were just things that, like, I mean, I really, really loved my ex. I did. He is a wonderful man. He is a wonderful person. He's a very kind, gentle soul. I know he doesn't watch my videos, so, but he just didn't do it for me on the same level that Alex does, you know? I think at one point he did. Like, when we first got together, it was magic. Like, the first year and a half together was just absolute magic. But just after that, it just, I think, like, and it wasn't just for me. You know, he told me later, he was like, you know, you were the one that said the words, but I was thinking it 2 months before it even happened, you know, that I was ready to end it. That night was so sad, though. I'll never forget. You know, I went over to Tanya's and I sat on her porch and I just bawled my eyes out and said, I can't believe this is happening. And he called me and said that he had left the apartment. So I went home and Tanya was like, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm gonna go home. Gotta take care of the dog. And then, like, 2 hours later, at that point, you know, this whole thing over the course, it was a course of an evening. Like 1 o'clock in the morning, I got a call from him. He was just bawling his eyes out. And I said, what's going on? Are you okay? And he was like, I don't have any place to stay, and I don't know how to book a hotel room, and you always do this. You always take care of the hotel room. You're the one that books it, and I don't know how to do it, and I'm just driving around and I have no place to stay. And I said, well, where are you? I said, come back. I said, let's work things out. I'll sleep on the couch if you want me to, we can talk. He was like, no. He was like, Peter, we both know it's over, and we did. And he's like, but I didn't realize how much I depend on you. And he was like, I don't know how to get a hotel room. Can you help me with that? And so I helped him get a hotel room, and then the next day he got an apartment, a real cute apartment downtown, may I just say. And then he called me, and then he asked me if I would be willing to buy him out of our furniture, our shitty furniture that we had for 6 years that the dog had destroyed. And I felt so bad because he was like, I don't have any money and blah, blah, blah. I said, sure. So I bought him out of the furniture and probably paid him way too much money. And then the next week, he sent me a picture of his new apartment. And I thought, oh my God, he got this adorable play. I did not know that when we broke up, he was making an unbelievable amount of money. I did not know that, okay? I had no clue. I didn't think he was making any money at all. He had this absolutely adorable apartment with plants everywhere. And he had already gotten a cat, which he knew I hated cats, and he got a cat. Named it Halloween, my favorite holiday, and just, like, had painted the walls, and it was like, I mean, he wasn't real sad for long, I'll tell you that. And I was coming home every day, you know, to bare walls that he had taken the art off of, and everything pushed up into a corner in boxes, and it just was sad. And I was kind of stuck like that, honestly, you know, until my mom passed away. And then after that, I just was kind of like, it's time to move on with your life. And that's when I started staying at the condo. And I moved in there, like, pretty soon after my mom passed away. I was done with that apartment. I wanted out of there. That's a hard thing to break up with somebody and be the one that has to come back to the place that you guys lived, you know? But for a while, we would see each other out because I was, you know, still going out to bars and stuff like that a lot then, gay bars, and I don't anymore, and there just isn't that much of a scene here anymore, and I don't run into him. He got rid of his social media for a while, and then he got it back again, and, but I hear about him through people every once in a while. I mean, if I texted him or called him, you know, he would be fine with that. We have mutual friends from back in the day that, you know, but I don't think I've talked to him in like, I bet it's been like 3 or 4 years, honestly. I'm not one of those people that wants to stay good friends with my exes. I don't need to know who they're kissing and how great their new relationships are, and I think it's painful to put that on somebody else as well. So I haven't talked to him in 3 or 4 years. Alex and I feel very similar about our exes, that we don't necessarily need them in our lives. And I don't know that I think it's healthy for our relationship. So, I mean, Alex wouldn't be upset if I called him or texted him. We had a mutual friend that was very, very sick, and I called him, and Alex was like, what did he say? And I was like, told him, and he was like, oh, okay. I will say I'm always honest with Alex when I talk to him, but... And he's dated off and on, and he had a kind of a long-term relationship for a while, and I know that. And, it's just weird, you know? It's like, for somebody that I spent literally every day and every night with, you know, for 6.5 years... that I don't know anything about today. I don't know anything about their life. And he drastically changed too. Like, he immediately started going to all different kinds of concerts and stuff than he did when we were together. He started drinking. It was like, I honestly was kind of like, I don't know that I know this person, you know? And, but that's okay. I think we change in relationships. We become different people. You might say the same thing about me. I don't know. You know, I'm definitely not the person that I was when I dated him. And I think that one of the things I love the most about my husband is that he allows me to have what I was yearning at that time in my life, which was to have a house and be somewhat settled down. But then I also love the craziness of traveling and going to music festivals and the fun of YouTube and all that. You know, I love that piece too, and Alex entertains all that. So, you know, I'm able to have the best of both worlds, and it's fantastic. You know, it really, really is. But I wouldn't trade any time that I had with my ex. I loved him for the time that we spent together. You know, we had some really, really great times, some really good times. My mother loved him. My parents loved him, you know. My aunt, my uncle, my cousin, everybody loved him. And I will say he changed my position on soulmates. I used to believe in soulmates. This is kind of a funny topic, but I did, you know. And I really believed that he was my soulmate. I really, really did, you know? And then there was a moment when I was like, are you ever so sure of something in your life? Okay, the camera turned off. I didn't even see that the light was on. But do you ever have those moments where just your opinion about something just changes on a dime? Well, I don't even know when it happened for me, but I really believed that he was my soulmate, you know? I really did. And it just, everything, when we got together, it was just you know, oh, I love this movie. Oh my God, I love that movie too. And oh, I love this book. Oh, I love that book too, you know? And oh, I love this song. Oh my God, I love that song. You know, we just had so many connected moments. And I don't think that's always good. I really don't, you know? And, I don't even know what happened. I just remember I had this moment and I just was like, I don't. It started creeping in, you know? It was probably around the time that my mom said, you know, weeds grow fast in a garden, and before you know it, they've taken over. But I was kind of like, I don't know. I don't know that I think that anymore, that we're soulmates. It was a very dangerous thought, you know? Because when you start thinking that way, be soulmates to love each other and to be together, you know? I can remember I asked Alex, like when we first started dating, I was like, do you believe in soulmates? And he was like, no, not at all. And I was like, really? He goes, no, I think it's a lot of timing. And he goes, I think it's like you meet, you know, somebody at the right time and your paths cross and, you know, you like each other and you get along, and it's not fate. It's not soul mates forever. And I was like, oh. Oh, really? Like, I want to be soulmates with you. Like, I was really upset about it. And now I'm like, he's so right, though. You know, like, I don't want to kill the fantasy for anybody, but I really do believe that. Like, it is a lot of timing. It is a lot of, like, paths meeting at the right time and, you know, like, common interest and common, you know, in each other and what you want your futures to look like, and do you have fun together, and is the sex good, and you know what I mean? Like, oh, I want a dog too, you know what I mean? Like, and then over time, I think we call that, you know, true love or soulmates or fate, when in reality, it's just a mix of a lot of all of these things together. But if it feels like soulmates, if it feels like fate, then what's wrong with that? I don't think anything at all, you know? I really don't. And I think out of all three of my relationships, my relationship with Alex feels like the truest love I've ever had, honestly. And I think that we had to break down any kind of fantastical fairy tale boundaries for us just to realize that we're one human being loving another human being. And we're no different than anybody else, you know? And it's not about being two men or two women or a man and a woman. It's just love. It's mutual respect. It's, you know, honor. It's wanting the best for that person. It's being proud of that person. It's being excited to see that person. It's butterflies that you get in your stomach for that person. It's all of those things. And those feelings together sometimes feel like fate. That doesn't necessarily mean that it is. But I'm okay with that, you know what I mean? Because look what I get in return. A fantastic marriage and a fantastic husband, so. Man, I have rambled. I had no idea that this is where it was going to go tonight. I swear to you, I had no idea. So anyway, it was so funny too, because Alex, right before I left, he goes, what are you going to vlog about tonight? I said, I have no idea. Whenever I start talking, I never know where it's going to end. I love my husband so much. He's so cool. Anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. I hope you're having a great start to your weekend. I love you. Bye.